Let's hit record here. All right, we are recording. We are here with the man that everyone in Texas knows and loves. We affectionately call him RoJo. Now, it's not often that we see your face. We usually see you behind the camera. So let's start with Inside Texas Track. How did this get started?
All right, so I guess around 1998, I was at a track meet, and
Okay.
so a friend of mine. I guess before we start with the Inside Texas Track, let's start with the photography because that kind of led to the Inside Texas Track.
Fair enough.
So in 1998, my mentor Herschel Jones, he's a photographer. He's
Right.
a well-known photographer around the state here, mainly locally in Dallas. And so he let me see his camera one time, and I was like, man, is that it? You know, the thing was out of focus, and I turned the little lens, and it became focused. And I'm like, is that it? He said, yeah. I said, man, I'm about to go buy me a camera. So I went and bought a camera. That next week, I went out to the track meet the week after that. Went out there and started taking pictures. And so I used to be an official. And I used to officiate track meets or whatever. One year they had me doing the discus, and they had me out there chasing the discus. I said, man, there's got to be a better way to get into these track meets for free without me having to chase these discus around. And so a good friend of mine, Phil Mary, who was the person responsible for Texas Track and Field, News.com. You know, I met him and he told me what he was doing. I like, man, that'd be a cool way to get to track meets for free. And so I started Inside Texas Track from a conversation with him. So I started back in 1999. So originally my deal was to get into the track meets for free. That was it. You know, I was a journalism major, so I already knew about the credentials and all that stuff. So that was my main purpose of starting the website. You know, and then it just grew into something way more than that. You know, back then, you know, we didn't have the mile split and all that. We had Dystat, you know, Dystat was around. And so they used to use a lot of my articles that I had written on my site for their site to cover the Texas portion of the Dystat part, you know, because Phil, he did all results. Everybody sent results to Phil.
Right.
You know, everybody sent results to Phil. And so I didn't really focus on results because I figured we already had a source for results. So there was really no need for me to put results on my site. So I said, well, what can I do to be different? So that's when I started doing interviews with the kids, you know, because the only time you really get to talk track and field is every 4 years. Or during the state meet, you know, you may have a couple of people that get, you know, and so, you know, I wanted an avenue for kids to be showcased because, you know, track and field is a great sport. You know, all sports relate to track and field because you can't have running, you can't have basketball without running and jumping. You know, you can't have football without running. So, you know, track and field is the basis of it. So that's kind of how it started. That was my intent when I started it, but it grew into something way more than that.
Yeah, and now Phil, he moved around several times as a coach, and and then he got married. No idea where he is now, but I know Texas Track is basically defunct. It went the same way as, you know, like Track Shark, who I used to love.
Yeah. Phil is somewhere in a group or something. He's one of my Facebook friends, and so I chat with him every once in a while. I miss him though because that was my guy right there. You know, it was back then. It was just me and Phil. You know,
that's true.
Texas Track and Inside Texas Track. That was it. You know, and the fact that we were good friends. You know, it was never like a competition between the two. We always worked together. You know, I posted a lot of pictures and all that, and like I said, the interviews and the articles from the track meets because of my journalistic background.
Right.
You know, and it's crazy how. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, even when we were starting the association, which still doesn't overlap with what you guys were doing, he was still very helpful
Yes.
in providing initial contacts and some information. So yeah, he's a good guy.
Good guy, good guy. And he allowed me to use his site to produce a ranking because he never had a ranking system
Right.
on his site. And so, I always thought it was cool to, when I was in high school, I loved to see the state rankings every Tuesday. And so newspapers kind of got away from that, doing those state rankings and all that. And so when Phil had his site going and when I was doing mine, I would go through his results and I would go through all those results and do a ranking. Now, I didn't do a ranking top 200 because me personally, if you rank 158, I mean, really, I did a top 10. I did a top 10. And so it was easier for me because I only had to rank the top 10. Now, I still had to go through and look through all those results to see who cracked my top 10. But that top 10 ranking was published in like a lot of newspapers around the state. The Houston Chronicle published it, the San Antonio Express, they published it a long time ago. And so, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. And it was kind of cool to see your name talk about provided by Inside Texas Track. So that was really cool. That was really cool.
Well, you're making headway with the with the website. I see the hat, the sweatshirt. What is next for Inside Texas Track? How are you going to increase its visibility?
Well, I think I have to go back old school. That's what I did last year. Oh, that's what I was starting to do this year.
Yeah,
was going back to that old school, get the word out. I would go to the track meets. I have like a bunch of flyers, and I'm sitting there personally handing them out to people. At the Carl Lewis indoor meet this year, I was at the door hitting every athlete that came in because it's amazing that I've been back for about 5 years now, and there's still a lot of people that don't know about Inside Texas Track. Now some of the big dogs know because I go and talk to them and interview and all that. But I'm trying to build up just the base of the website. Like back in the day, everybody knew about Inside Texas Track, but that's because it was the only thing like it. We have different variety of sources now, and so I guess my end goal is just to spread the word. I mean, it's a free site. You don't have to pay for anything. All the information is there. Kids are being showcased, highlighted. I've also known it to be a recruiting tool for some colleges. I've had college coaches telling me, "Hey, man, I saw the interview you did with a recruit that we're looking at." And so when he told me that, I was like, "Really? You guys?" Asked? Oh yeah, man, because your interviews are engaging. It shows the athlete they're comfortable with you. So it kind of gives us an idea of the type of personality that athlete has. So, with that, I was like, oh man, that's pretty cool. I was just doing it just to, show the kid, just, give him a little airtime and all that.
That's because you're so bashful.
I think that's what it is.
Tell me about your track background, first as an athlete.
Okay, so my track background, I graduated from W.T. White.
Okay.
Back in 1990. 1990 was the first year that they started triple jump for high school boys. And so I actually got second at state. My PR in high school was 49.10 3/4. I was wanting to be the first guy to jump 50 feet. That was my goal.
So
that was my
close.
I came up short. And actually, when I jumped that 49.10, I actually lost. It was my first time ever losing. I lost to Henry Neal. Henry went ahead and jumped 50'8" that day. He took my shine. He took my shine.
Wow, great sprinter.
Yes. And so that was high school. I did summer track, and it was my first year ever doing summer track. I'd never heard of summer track.
Okay.
And so since I was a young senior, because I graduated when I was 17, I had the chance to come back and run summer track my freshman year, after my freshman year in college, because I didn't turn 18 until the end of August. And so that second go around, I actually set the junior Olympic record in the triple jump. I jumped 52.6½.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy because the year before I'd only jumped 49.10. So I just kind of, it just kind of took to me, you know, I ended up going to Southwest Texas, and while I was there, I got to have actually I still have the indoor triple jump record at 53 3 3/4 at the school. So it's celebrating birthdays now. So it's pretty cool.
Was there ever a chance Olympic trials or?
I had qualified for the Olympic trials back in '96, but I didn't go, because I wasn't ready. I was training in Georgia. I was training with a coach, Jerome Hutchins,
Okay.
And so I went up there, we trained and all that, but it just wasn't clicking, didn't feel prepared. And so, man, I came on home, got married. And I just instantly retired, just instantly retired.
You regret it?
Do I? I don't know if I regret it as much as, yeah, maybe had I kept with it, maybe something would have happened. Something different would have happened. But I came back and I started coaching, youth sports.
Okay.
And so it was funny. We was at a track meet one day. Well, we went at the Junior Olympics. This was back in '97, I think it was. And so I was out there with my kids, we had qualified or whatever. And so the hotel where we stayed at, they had a track behind it. And so they was having one of those masters track meets. And so my kids were talking about, "Oh, Coach Ron, you need to, you ought to go out there and compete." Like, man, I ain't jumped in years, y'all. I'll go ahead and do it. Let's see what you got. So I said, all right. So I went out there. Man, I jumped like 6'9" that day, and I was shocked. I'm like, man, I didn't think I can jump that high still, And so they was all shocked, and they were like, oh, So that was pretty cool. When I did that, I actually thought about it. I said, well, maybe I should just focus on the high jump and just, work on that or whatever. But nah, I guess I'm cool with the decision I made, and Inside Texas Track gives me the avenue to continue to be in track and field.
Fair enough. Now, you mentioned youth sports. You have two sons of your own.
Yes, sir.
One, correct me if I'm wrong, basketball scholarship at UTA.
That is correct.
And the other, a probable scholarship athlete in the high jump.
We hope so.
He's going to be a junior or a senior?
He'll be a senior this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me what it was like, what it's still like, raising your two sons, following in your athletic footsteps, etc.
Well, okay, so let's start with the oldest one. He, he decided to choose basketball. I'm not a basketball fan. I don't even like basketball, but I go to all his games.
Of course.
So I'm a big football fan. I never played football, but I'm a big football fan. And Trey was really good in football. And so I kind of wish he would have went the football route, but he didn't. He wanted to play basketball, And so, I sat and, I watch it, I cheer him on. It's cool watching him, but the thing with your kids, they don't ever want to listen to the parent. I tell my kids, I said, son, you guys, you don't even know what I've done as far as when it comes to sports. Like, no, I didn't play football or basketball, but I do know what it takes to be a good athlete, to be a great athlete. So they usually don't listen to me. But if someone else comes and tells them the same thing that I told them, then they're all ears, and then they're trying to do it and all that. So being the parent of a kid that's doing sports and you have the background and they don't listen, it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. But they live and learn. I tell them, hey, you do you, then I've coached state champions, son. I know what I'm talking about. But if you choose not to listen, then don't listen. And so I just, mainly, I just sit back and I let the coach do their job. I've never been one of those parents that try to tell a coach how to coach. because I couldn't stand that when I was coaching. You know, you send your kid to me to help them. Don't come over here and try to tell me how to do my job or what I need to do or whatever. So I put my trust in their coaches, and you know, it's going well. My youngest son, he's a work in progress, but we're trying to get him there. I mean, I hate that he didn't get to really do anything this year because of the COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it would have been kind of interesting to see what he would have done. But I mean, we got one more year, so hopefully we can get out there and see what we got.
What's his PR?
6'1", no, 6.5 inches. Now, which is crazy because he jumped 5'8" as an 8th grader. He jumped 6 foot as a freshman, but he hasn't improved. You know, and it's just it's a mental thing. My youngest son, you know, he's really probably not really into the sports. He's more into, like, he wants to do poetry and all this stuff, and so he puts a lot of effort towards that. You know, so
Gotcha.
Being the parent that I am, I go ahead and I support that. I still tell him, I said, well, Jackson, I don't know if you get scholarships writing poems like that. You know, you need to figure out how we're gonna get you to school if that's what you want to do. I'm trying to talk them into letting them know that, hey, man, sometimes you got to use what you got to get what you want. You know, you have a jumping ability. And I say this jokingly, but I tell them, I said, dude, you guys were bred to jump, dude. I didn't just marry any old female, dude. She got to have some qualities, you know, some athletic qualities. Now, your mom just happened to be a pretty good jumper. And so, you know, we got jumping babies. So you got the gift.
And I've met your son. He is built like a high jumper.
He is. I've always told him his whole life that you are my jumper. I said, son, you walk on your toes. You're my jumper.
He's 6'7", waiting to happen.
Yes, easily. So this is our last year to try to get it done. So hopefully we can get it done and, you know, see what happens.
Well, when I emailed you earlier, what you called my cheat sheet.
Yes.
Mentioned that with your sons, that we might talk a little bit about what's happened in the world socially in addition to COVID. Now, it's been emphasized because everybody has been home.
Yes.
Well, most people anyway. How have you talked with your sons about racism, about Black Lives Matter?
Well, basically what I've told them, and I guess I've always taught my kids to be respectful, regardless if you feel that you've been done wrong, you know, to always be respectful. I say, you let daddy be the fool. You don't go out there and be disrespectful. You let daddy be the fool. And so when the George Floyd thing happened, you know, I had to sit down and talk with my boys, and I told them, I said, son, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're getting pulled over for something you feel like you did not do anything wrong, I said, man, just yes, sir, no, sir. Be respectful, get out of there, and then we will deal with that later. You know, so it's just one of those things. Like my oldest son, he's kind of being vocal on his Twitter page about it. You know, his school is allowing the basketball players, the coaching staff, they're allowing the basketball players to kind of speak up, you know, to speak up. So, you know, that's pretty good. And I mean, it's one of those things where it's not fair, but I mean, it's just the way it is, you know, and I would prefer for you to be treated unfairly and we deal it out later than to find yourself dead because you tried to have an attitude with a cop that may be racist or with whatever, you know. Some things are just not worth dying for, you know.
Have you or your sons or even your wife, have you experienced anything?
Me personally, not me myself, but my dad. You know, my dad was beat up by cops. They said he fit the description of a person, and which was far from me because my dad's 6'6", and the dude they was looking for was like 5'7". You know, he was just walking down the street. Now, he was walking down the street 2:00 in the morning, but that's just my dad, you know. But still, you should, I don't care what race or color, you should be able to walk down the street, you know, regardless, and not have to be harassed. And so he was beat up and jailed, and he said he didn't do anything, and they was trying to put bogus charges on him. And he stood his ground. He like, hey, I'm not plea bargaining. I didn't do anything. Mm-hmm. And so it ended up that they found the dash cam tape came out, and it found out that what he said was true. And so he ended up getting out, and, you know, the city did some type of deal or whatever. But I mean, still, I was upset when I found out about it, because, you know, I like, man, my dad, and at that time he was probably about, I don't know, maybe 64, 65. He was an old guy. You know, I mean, he's a big dude. You know, he's tall, you know, pretty strong for his age, but still, mm-hmm. you know, he was just minding his business, and, you know, it's crazy.
But fortunately, nothing to you and your sons.
Nah.
Good. All right, let's go back to track. You've taken pictures at a lot of meets.
Yes, sir.
Meets, Texas relays, local meets, etc. I see you all the time when I'm taking pictures. What are some of your favorite memories from behind the camera? The shots that you're like, I am so glad I was there for that moment.
Well, I guess my favorite moment is a bittersweet moment, because I was at the pit when the guy broke my junior Olympic record. I actually got what was that guy's name? Kenny. Oh God, he has the high school national record now. Oh man, what is his name? First name was Kenny. He was from Louisiana, and man, we was in Oregon, out at Hayward Field. Okay. And I don't know what it was or what it is about that field, but man, it was just something magical. That track meet, people were just doing crazy things. You know, all these age group records were breaking. And so it was cool to be there, but uncool to watch him break it. You know, that was crazy. So I guess that would be probably my favorite moment, you know, taking pictures of being a photographer in track and field. That's probably my favorite moment. Again, I've taken pictures at a lot of track meets. I've been to a lot of big national meets, and so there's so many moments. You know, last year watching Shikari, you know, in that 4x1 at Texas Relays, you know, that was cool. It's cool to see kids that I've seen when they was in high school,
right,
great things at that next level. You know, I think about like Michelle Carter. You know, I got pictures of Michelle when she's 10, 11.
Oh,
you
wow.
know, good friends with her dad, you know, because they're all part of that summer track group. So, you know, it's cool to see people like that do the things that they're doing now, and to know that, hey, man, I got pictures of her when she was 12 years old, you know, out there representing the DeSoto Road Runners before her dad started their own track group. You know, not a lot of people know that she threw for the DeSoto Road Runners before the throwbacks got created. Right. But yeah, I go way back. I mean, I have pictures in my archives. They take way back. And so usually, you know, I always tell people, I said, man, I am the inventor of the throwback. You know, I created the throwback. Those throwback pictures you see on Facebook, I'm the creator of the throwback. So I've been around for a while.
All right. Then this next question will be appropriate. Since you've been around Texas high school track and field for a while, mm-hmm. we're gonna make you the commissioner. You are in charge of all Texas track and field at the high school level. What changes are you making to the sport?
Oh man, do we have enough time? Because I got a lot of changes.
Give me your top 2 or 3.
Okay, so number 1, I'm getting rid of double points for relays.
Oh man,
I don't like double points because it forces coaches to put their best guys on relays. And it also forces them to put their good runners on relays. And so by putting them on relays, they don't have a name. Unless they're running 43s for girls, 44 for girls, you know, if they're running a 46 high, 47, college coaches are not going to know who's on that relay team. You know, they want to see individual results.
Yeah, where is the 400 gone?
The 400 for guys?
Is it relays?
Oh yeah. I mean, if they didn't have double points, I think you would have, I guess, a more competitive track meet in all the other events and the open events, because now you're not risking 20 points. You're only risking 10, which would be the same amount as any other. You know, I don't like it when a team can go to state with 2 relay teams and win because they won both of the relays. That's not a state championship to me, because you have 4 of the fastest guys to do those 2 relays. You know, and then you got a team that don't have a relay, but they come up short, but they have all these individual points coming in, you know. So that's the first thing that I would get rid of. 2, I would take away the limitations on how many events a person could run. As far as, you know, you can only run 3 events. I would at least give them 4. So if we can't get rid of the double point relays, at least you give that person an option to do 3 relays and an individual running event, you know. So I would do that. And my third thing that I would probably do, I would change the format of the state meet.
Go back to 3-day?
Well, not necessarily
prelims.
3-day. I mean, granted that I've always had 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, now 6A. I think a cool state meet would be running prelims and finals. And the way that I would do it, I would have 2 divisions. I would do it like Texas Relays, how they have a Division 1 and a Division 2. And so in that Division 1, you would have 1A to 3A or 1A to 4A. And then in that Division 2, you have 5A and 6A. And so you do like a ranking where you can, I mean, it would kind of be hard to do because, you know, different regional meets or different track meets have different conditions when it comes to trying to get a qualifying time. You know, it could be windy in West Texas and be freezing cold in Baylor or whatever. And so it would be different, but I would just probably try to take like the top 16 or maybe even the top 24 times in the state and bring them down for a prelim and the finals.
So you would go with qualifying times?
I would go with a qualifying time because, I mean,
a lot of states do it.
I mean, I don't know why we don't. You know, I like a competitive meet, and not to say that our state meet isn't competitive, but there is a lot of talent that get left at regionals that should be at state, and there's a lot of people at state that shouldn't be at state. You know, I mean, it is what it is. You have a team that may come from a certain part of the state that runs a 4-minute in the mile relay for girls, and they got second. They're at the state meet, where you got a team that went 3:51 and got 4th, and they're not there. You know, they're not there. So if we had a state qualifying, like a qualifying setup, I think the state meet would be great. You know, the stands will be full because you're going to have 2 track meets. You're going to have all those kids anyway. You know, top 24, that's 3 heats. 3 heats at state, you know, and then run the finals and do it a 3-day meet, because then now you get your field events in, you know, because, you know, it wouldn't be fair to have them do field events and run the same day. So it could probably work in somewhat kind of way where we can do a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you have field events that first day, and then do the running prelims that second day, and then do finals on that final day.
Yeah, I can't wait till it goes back to a 3-day meet. They've got to figure out something with the testing dates. That's what's holding it back right now, the Commissioner of Education, with the testing dates.
See, it was funny, man. You said 3-day meet, but I don't even remember them doing a 3-day meet that many times, because before it's always been a 2-day meet. Because I've always gone down there Friday,
Right.
and it's always Friday, Saturday. The year when Jasmine was a freshman, I wanted to see her jump, but then I found out that was my first year coming back, coming back into the fold or whatever. And I found out that she actually jumped that Thursday night. And I was like, what? That had never happened back in the day. The meet was always Friday and Saturday.
Yeah.
And so I was upset because that was the only state title that I didn't see her win when she jumped that Thursday. And I said, that'll never ever happen again. So I said, I will be there next time Thursday. And so I think they did it one of that next year. They did it. That's when she jumped the 43 for her sophomore year, when she set the sophomore record. And so I was able to capture that. And then after that, they went back to the 2 days.
So how have you kept busy during COVID? I mean, neither of us have been out there at a track meet. We haven't taken photographs. What have you been doing to occupy your time?
Well, I mean, my job, since the COVID has happened, my job has had it set where we work from home 2 weeks and then we go in for 1 week. We got a 3-man staff, so we rotate weeks. And so during my time, during my 2 weeks at home, during my lunch break, I've been DJing. I've been doing my little Facebook Live, DJing on my little Facebook, little midday mix and all that. So, I've been practicing on my DJing skills, picture wise. I've done quite a few seniors, senior pictures. Okay. So, which is pretty cool because most of the seniors that I've shot, they actually run track. So it was cool kind of going out to the track, doing pictures, doing action shots or whatever.
Wow, at least you found a track to get on.
Well, yeah, the tracks in Arlington, they were open. I don't know if they're open now, but they were open when we were doing the pictures. It's probably be a lot of people out there too. Like, man. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I've probably been spending more time doing DJing though, so that's been pretty cool.
And before we wrap this up, let me ask you this, going back to COVID, because you've had now extra time. I'm sure you've probably spent a lot more time with Jackson, your wife, now that you're home. What have you learned about yourself now that you've had more time at home?
I like being out. I like doing stuff. I feel like I'm in prison right now because I can't go anywhere. Like my son is here with me this month. Jackson's here with me for the month. And so I took this week off so that we can actually go try to do something. But I mean, there's really not much that we can do because everything is shut down or it's just not safe to be out. So just feel like you just trapped. But I mean, because I've always known I can entertain myself, I spend a lot of time in my office anyway. So, I listen to a lot of music, think of just cool things to do around the house.
I know you listen to a lot of Prince.
I love Prince.
I know you do. I've seen the pictures of you at his estate. I know you love Michael.
Oh man, Michael is the guy. I mean, for a long time, Michael was number one, and Michael still is number one to me. But Prince he's 1B. Prince used to be number 2, but he has moved up to 1B.
Oh,
because
wow.
when we went to Minneapolis, we learned a lot about Prince and a lot of things that I didn't know about him. And I mean, the fact that he's just a pure musical genius. Oh my God.
He would get upset at the musicians that played with him because they just weren't as good as he was on any instrument.
Yes. I mean, he's just pure. I mean, this COVID thing has really jacked up my time because I had trips set for this year. This was me and my wife's 5th wedding anniversary, and we were gonna go to Vegas to get married by Elvis. We were gonna renew our vows with Elvis. And so that got canceled. I bought my ticket to go back to Minneapolis to celebrate Prince's birthday. That got canceled. And so I'm like, man, I mean, we get credits for these airlines, but man, I don't want no credit because I mean, we're not gonna be 5 years anymore. You know, we wanted to do it for the fifth, you know.
That's hysterical.
Anniversary was on a Saturday. It was perfect, but now we won't be able to do it.
RoJo, it is good to see you, sir.
You too, sir.
Having not seen you in a while, I definitely look forward to seeing you out there at the cross-country races or the track again. Thank you for all your photographic advice as my pictures have started to, well, they're getting a little closer to the quality you produce. So I appreciate all your advice.
Doing your thing with those pictures, Stu. I'm telling you, I'll sit and I watch them. I like, man, these are looking great. These are looking great.
I owe a lot of it to you, but most of all, I appreciate you giving up 40 minutes of your time to talk with us. Before we leave, go ahead and plug Inside Texas Track.
Well, guys, if you don't know, Inside Texas Track, we cover high school Texas track and field athletes. You know, we have pictures from our meets. The pictures are free to all athletes and parents that are wanting to have pictures of their kids. InsideTexasTrack.com. We've been around. 1999 was our established date. We've been around forever. You know, we retired. We came back. We went in and did Jordan. We came back. And so we're out there. We would love to have you guys support. Just come, just follow us. You know, follow us on Twitter. We're there. I mean, I guess that's about it. You know, some good stuff.
Fair enough. Inside Texas Track. Make sure you follow RoJo. Take advantage of all that they have to offer. It's a great website and is a valuable and knowledgeable resource for the kids here in the state of Texas.
All right, Stu, thanks for having me, man.
You got it. You have a wonderful day, sir.
Thank you. You do the same.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right.